komplett aussetzen. No, if they change their minds, scream. Wenn ihr euch umentscheidet, dann schreit's. Fast. But I have a Danish mom, and so I actually have some credibility to show you around Copenhagen. Har vi dansktalende på? Hej. Dansktalende, som hellere vil have tur på dansk end på engelsk. Yes, så gør vi det. We are starting our tour here in Nyhavn. Nyhavn means as much as New Harbour, which is very misleading because it's not true at all. It's actually one of the oldest parts of the city. It was dug up by Swedish prisoners in the 1670s. So quite the opposite of new. Vi starter vores tur i Nyhavn. Nyhavn er overhovedet ikke så nyt, som det lyder. Det er faktisk en af de ældste bydele her i København. Den blev udgravet af svenske krigsfanger i 1670'erne. The motor of the ship is in the very back. If it gets too loud and annoying, you can always come further front. I'm sorry about that. On a security note, we have a lot of very low bridges on this tour, so it's important you guys stay seated when I ask you to, especially the people sitting outside, so no one hits their heads. Vi har sat biler så niedrige, vi har rigtig mange lave broer på den her tur, så det er vigtigt, at I sætter jer ned, når jeg beder om det, så der ikke er nogen, der slår deres hoveder. Den laveste bro af dem alle sammen kommer her om 40 sekunder. The lowest bridge of them all is coming up in a second. The buildings on our right-hand side are built on the so-called paper island. And this paper island here was one of the last industrial areas so close to the city centre. There's a lot of discussion on what to do with that area, and they ended up building these super expensive apartments. One of them was just sold for 10 million euros, and a lot of Copenhageners have mixed feelings as they feel something more social could have been built that everyone can benefit of. På højre side her har vi Papirøen. Papirøen var en af de sidste industrielle bydele, som var så tætte på indre byen. Og der var rigtig meget diskussion og snak omkring, når man skulle bygge her. De endte med at bygge de her meget, meget dyre lejligheder. En af dem blev solgt for 80 millioner kroner. Og der er mange københavner, som har lidt blandede følelser, fordi man mener, at man kunne bygge noget lidt mere socialt, som alle kan være en del af.
10 million euros for an apartment, that's insane. You don't even look that low. It's really excessive. You're coming out.
On the right hand side here we have the new opera garden with trees and plants from all across the world. And right next to it the opera itself, of course. It was built in 2005 and was a donation to the city from the businessman Mærsk McKinney Müller. Mærsk has his headquarters on the other side, illustrated. The richest man of Denmark at some point. He has a shipping company and he donated the opera.
this to the city.
The building is one of the largest roof constructions in the world with the size of 3 football fields. And every summer there's a competition of people jumping down from the roof into the ocean. Som blev bygget i 2005, var en gave til byen af businessman Mærsk. side, the big grey building with smoke coming out of it, is the attempt of the Danes to make up for the fact that they don't have any mountains. Bless them, they try really hard. But the building is actually really cool. It doesn't only look like a mountain, it actually functions as one. And so on the other side of the building there's a ski slope where you can go skiing, and you can go hiking, and you can go climbing. And me being Austrian, I quite appreciate the lengths they're going to bring some mountain landscape into this flat country. På højre side, den store grå bygning, det er Amager Bakke, og fordi Danmark jo ikke har nogen bjerge, så bygger de en bare selv. Og det er så det, de har gjort der. Men bygningen ligner ikke kun et bjerg, men fungerer faktisk som et, så på den anden side af bygningen kan man komme ud og stå på ski og op ad vandre og ud og klatre, ligesom man spille på et almindeligt bjerg.
Submarine doesn't look like it. It looks like it's out of commission. On the right-hand side we have Repselleøen, another industrial area that they're trying to include more to the rest of the city. They're doing that by building loads of container villages for students to live in. Living is so expensive that those containers you see over there is where students live. Lots of arts activities, sports activities, a street food market just opened back up again. On your right hand side, which is inspired by the tales of Hans Christian Andersen. The original tale is quite a tragic one. She ends up as foam in the sea instead of married to a Disney prince. In the statue herself, she's also had quite a tragic life. She's lost her head twice and an arm once. Has been shipped through the entire world, has been through 2 world wars, and so we're very lucky to see her in one piece today. Also don't forget to smile, because you've got to be in the background of a lot of photos, and she's so small, you miss her. Og højst har vi en lille havfrue. Hun er inspireret af fortællingen af H.C. Andersen. Hun har stået på sin sten siden 1913 og har været igennem en del siden da. Hun har mistet hendes hoved 2 gange, sammen 1 gang, og det sendt rundt i hele verden, har været igennem 2 verdenskrige. Så vi er meget heldige at se hende i et stykke i dag. Hun var en gave til byen af Carl Jacobsen, som er søn af grundlæggerne af Carlsberg-bryggerierne, og blev lavet af Edvard Eriksen, som brugte sin kone som model. She was a gift to the city from Carl Jacobsen, who's the son of the founder of the Carlsberg breweries, and she was made by Edvard Eriksen, who used his wife as a model. He originally wanted to use a ballerina who was dancing the Little Mermaid in a ballet to be his muse for this sculpture, but she backed out last minute. She didn't want to be naked in front of him, and so he came home completely distraught. He didn't know what to do. He had lost his model for his new art piece. And so his wife said, but you can use me. And so he used the wife's body but the ballerina's face. And you can decide for yourself what you would have done. Whether they got a divorce, which was a huge deal back in 1913 when she was built. And so that's part of the reason why she's so famous today. The right-hand side of the palace you see is the royal residency. Four identical paths. Now that the royal family lives there, the old Queen Margaret, she lives on the left-hand side. We know that because that woman smokes so much, and so that building has 5 chimneys instead of 4. And the right-hand side is where the new King's Belling lives. You can see that neither of them are home right now because the flags aren't hoisted. På højre side har vi Amalienborg, det her kongefamilien bor. På venstre side bor dronning Margrethe, på højre side bor kong Frederik, og vi kan se, at flaget ikke er hejst, det betyder, at de ikke er hjemme lige nu. Og i baggrunden har vi Marmorkirken med en af de største kupler i hele Nordeuropa. It's ridiculously small considering what I'm going to tell you now, because that little statue right there cost more to make than the entire palace around it, because the artist who made it, he was a clever man, and he was paid by the hour, and so he took 16 years to finish it.
Smart guy. We'll probably go there tomorrow if we come down here.
Considering what I'm going to tell you now, because that little statue right there cost more to make than the entire palace around it, because the artist who made it, he was a clever man, and he was paid by the hour, and so he took 16 years to finish it.
God. Smart guy. We'll probably go there tomorrow if we come down here.
Christianshavn. Christianshavn was built under King Christian IV, who was very inspired by his trips to Amsterdam, which isn't a big surprise when you take a look around. So when he came back from his travels, he had put it in his mind that he wanted to recreate the canal system that they have down there here in Copenhagen. And so he did, and that was all a really good idea in theory. In practice,
further a different way.
not so much, because he got a little carried away and more or less just started digging, which resulted in the whole area becoming completely flooded and muddy, and all the new buildings that had just been built here had such a weak foundation all of a sudden because of all this water running through, that the Copenhageners were afraid to move here because they were afraid of their houses collapsing. Copenhageners also thought that this whole area was too far away from Copenhagen because there hadn't been built any bridges yet, and it took such a long time to get into the city centre from here. And so what he did was that he offered people 12 years of tax-free lives if please someone sacrificed themselves to move into this dump that's now Christianshavn, and one of the most popular areas in the whole city, also one of the most expensive and one of the oldest, because it was never hit by any of the great fires Copenhagen has been through. And so a lot of the very, very old buildings here are still preserved. Vi taler nu ikke om Christianshavn. Christianshavn blev bygget under kong Christian IV, som var meget inspireret af sine rejser til Amsterdam. Så meget, at da han så kom tilbage til Danmark, så havde han besluttet sig for at skulle genskabe kanalsystemet, de har dernede her i København. Og det gjorde han jo så, som I kan se, så sejler vi igennem det lige nu. Det var dog ikke helt så stor en succes lige til at starte med, må man sige, fordi det startede med at bygge, lavede de nogle fejl, som gjorde, at hele området blev fuldstændig oversvømmet og mudret. Og det var simpelthen for ulækkert til at bo her, folk gad ikke at flytte til. Så det, hvad kong Christian IV gjorde, var, at han lokkede folk ved at love dem 12 års skattefrihed, hvis de gad at bo her. Og det fungerede ret godt. Lige pludselig så strømmede det ind med folk, og nu er det en af de mest populære områder. Også en af de ældste, fordi Christianshavn aldrig blev ramt af de store ildebrande, som København har været igennem. Så rigtig mange af de rigtig mange af de rigtig gamle bygninger findes stadig her. After we've passed this next bridge and you look to your left, you'll be able to see my favorite church in Copenhagen. It's called Our Saviour's Church, but you have to be a little bit quick if you want to take a photo, so I recommend getting phones and cameras out now if that's what you want. Once we pass this bridge, so if you look to your left now, you can see it's Our Saviour's Church. Og Frelsens Kirke her på venstre side med 392 trapper hele vejen op til toppen. 392 steps all the way to the top. The top is built out of oak tree, which is kind of softwood, so when it's very windy you can see it slightly moving, and everyone on top afraid. If you didn't manage to get a photo, don't be sad. It said that the tree right there is the most photographed tree in all of Denmark. There's a Facebook page dedicated to it. De to bygninger her på venstre side hedder Sandkage og Lavkage her på højre side. Og før de blev bygget, så var der det største kvindefængsel her i hele Europa. The next bridge in front of us is quite a low one, so please remain seated. The woman in the very back, if you could sit down on your seat, please. Hands up, please. Woman in the back, could you sit down, please? Please sit down in the back, we can tap each other. Thank you, there's a low bridge. Tack. We are now in a quiet area where I'm not allowed to use the microphone, and so I'll be quiet for a little while. In front of us we have the so-called Black Diamond, an extension of the Royal Library. It's gotten its name because the facade is slightly tilted, and so when the sun hits right, the water reflects back up into the building, and the whole building shines like a black diamond. På højre side har vi en sorte diamant, som er del af det kongelige bibliotek. Så der står sit navn, fordi bygningen står lidt skråt, så når solen skinner helt rigtigt, så reflekterer vandet tilbage op i bygningen, og hele bygningen skinner som en sort diamant. There's another low bridge coming up, yes, thank you. On the left-hand side here we have Blocks, which is the Danish architectural center and was just voted for the second ugliest building in the whole Copenhagen. Bygningen her til venstre er det danske arkitekturcenter, og er lige blevet nævnt den næst grimmeste bygning i hele København. Den som blev nævnt grimmest er den store røde i Carlsbergbyen. Low bridge, careful everyone. We are now in Copenhagen Canal, and all the big ships you see straight ahead, they had the choice a few years ago if they wanted to stay forever or leave now, because the bridge which is past was built, and that can't open up, which means that all the big ships in here are stuck essentially. Alle de her store skibe herinde, de havde valget nogle år siden, om de ville blive eller tage afsted, fordi broen vi kom forbi, den kan ikke åbnes, og den blev bygget, så alle de her store skibe, de er fanget mere eller mindre. The one to the left here, for example, the white one, if you guys have seen The Bear season 2, where they're in Copenhagen, this is where they live. If you haven't, then that's not what it's all. Or on the right hand side, the red one is an old light vessel that was last used during the Second World War. You can still see the lights up there that used to send out all the warning signals to the ships around. På højre side har vi et gammelt fyrskib, som sidst blev brugt under 2. verdenskrig. Man kan stadig se lyset deroppe, som sendte alle signalerne til skibene omkring. Vores tag er desværre så snart, som vi ikke kan se igen. The bridge in front of us is the most narrow one we have on this tour. So just be careful with any elbows or hands or kids sticking too far off the boat. Den næste bro er den smalleste vi har på den her tur, så det er vigtigt lige at være opmærksom på jeres elboer og hænder og børn, som helst ikke skal kigge alt for langt ud af båden.
bridge is called the Storm Bridge. Oh, pas på din elbow her. Careful with your elbow. Yeah, thank you. Applause to the captain, not as easy as he makes it. On the left-hand side we have Gammelstrand. The Danes really weren't so creative with the name giving here. Gammelstrand means as much as old beach. This is what the old beach used to be. It's also where the old fisher market used to be up until the 70s, which is why till this day there's quite a few good fish restaurants here. På venstre side har vi Gammelstrand. Det her er den gamle strandvand. Det er også her det gamle fiskermarked plejede at være. Derfor op til den her dag, så er der stadig en del ret mange gode fiskerestauranter her. Behind the metro sign on your left
there's a statue of a man on a horse. Oh, and there's a bird on top of his head. And that man is the founder of Copenhagen, Bishop Absalon. He founded Copenhagen in 1167. Statuen på venstre siden af manden på hesten, det er grundlæggeren af København, Bishop Absalon, som grundlagde København i 1167.
On the right-hand side we have Christiansborg, which is the Danish parliament. It was originally built 1745 for the royal family, and they also lived there for a full 50 years before the building burned down again. They then had to move to the castle that we saw earlier, and the parliament moved in instead. The building has since then burned down another 4 times though, and so the building standing here today was built 1928. So it's actually a rather modern building, only made to look old, to sort of match the rest of the city. På højre side har vi Christiansborg, det er det danske parlament. Den blev bygget 1745, originalt for den kongelige familie, som også boede der i 50 år, inden bygningen brændte ned igen. De blev så nødt til at flytte til Amalienborg, som vi så tidligere, og så flyttede parlamentet ind i stedet for. I think some of the bridges here are quite low, so just be careful on the very back. Thank you. On the right-hand side we have what used to be the stock exchange of Copenhagen. It was just under renovation for its 400-year anniversary when an electrical spark started a fire that burned down 60% of the building. And now they're trying their best to rebuild it, and in the meanwhile we'll have to do with a photo of it here that ironically cuts out. It had a sphere that was thought to protect it against fire, and ironically that's what caught fire first and that then fell into the rest of the building. På højre side har vi børsen, som brændte ned mere eller mindre præcis et år siden. Den var under renovation for sit 400 år jubilæum, da et elektrisk kvist startede en ildebrand, som brændte 60% af bygningen ned. Nu giver det et spærre feste og bygge bygningen tilbage op igen, og i mellemtiden vil vi nøjes med et billede af den her. The kayak bar on your right hand side, they have a really cool system where you can rent a kayak for free if you go and collect trash with it, so-called green kayaks. Kajakbaren her på højre side, vi har et ret sejt system, hvor man kan leje en gratis kajak, hvis man tager ud og samler skrald med den. Det er sådan nogle grønne kajakker, man ser omkring. And across from it there's that long white building with the orange roof, which is an old warehouse from the 1600s. Nothing special in itself, but it was built in the 50 years that the royal family lived in Christiansborg before the parliament were moved in, which means that the king would have been able to see it. And so they really had to step up their game, pressure was on. And I wanted to really appreciate the side of the building, very symmetrical, these big doorways, big windows.
try to remember what it looks like, so you can compare it to the other side of the building that the king would not be able to see. I think it's fair to say that they did not try as hard. The long green building on your left-hand side is the old docking place for the ship that used to go between Copenhagen and Malmö before the Bridge was built in between the two countries in the year 2000. Straight ahead, there's a bridge, also called the Kissing Bridge. You can give the person next to you a kiss if you'd like. It's also one big fiasco. It was built over 10 years ago and it's still under renovation because they keep making mistakes. The biggest one was probably when they started building it. They started building from the left-hand side and they started building from the right-hand side, and they built and they built and they built, and then the ends never met in the middle. There was around 1.5 meters in between, which some might argue is unfortunate for a bridge. It has since then taken 4 companies and 3 bankruptcies to finish it, which I'm very happy that they did, because it connects such important parts of the city. So once we're done with the tour, you guys could just walk down Nyhavn, cross the bridge, then there's a street food market, and then you're in Christianshavn, which was the part inspired by Amsterdam. And that little tour was a lot more difficult before this lovely bridge here was built. If the people in the very back could sit down, please. The very low bridge is coming up again one last time. Thank you very much.
But yeah, with that we've made it back to Nyhavn, which means we've made it to the end of our tour. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe you learned something. If you guys could stay seated until I've fully secured the ship, that would be amazing. And other than that, I hope you have a great continued stay. Thank you everyone. Tack allesammans, tack och alla from the captain and myself.
Amazing trip. It's really good. I enjoyed it. Yeah. Thank you, Denmark.
Den laveste bruger dem alle sammen kommer her om 40 sekunder. The lowest bridge of them all is coming up in a second.